Watch. Here. Then when you're ready, let go. Because their balance is still not set until after you let them relax it. They have to still come down. You already threw them to the mattress. Right here, you gotta let me hike up. Then let me get back down while you throw me. Relax it. Throw me. That.
You ain't sell that, did you?
I don't sell nothing. You know me by now. Here we go. Naturally, I've been working on sitting down, but Master Will was talking about jip-sow. So, we're going to talk about jip-sow. Okay. First, let's go to original reason of jip-sow, because I don't want anybody to think it's all about arm breaking. Arm breaking is only there because of the idea of like Wong Shen Lung and those others who will rather get the fight over with, which is good. You know, if you have someone's arm, right, you're using a Ji-sow motion and a Tok-sow motion together to form jip-sow. Now, and this is for necessarily the arm break idea of jip-sow. There's actually two different sets of jip-sow. So I'm going to introduce you to both, right? First off, like I said, the arm break is for actually taking a Ji-sow motion, of jut. This is a form of jut or jump, Ji-sow. Coming back towards as the Tok-sow is bringing it upward. It creates a seesaw effect of chin-na. It's a chin-na method. That's why it's an arm break, because really chin-na is nothing but I'm going to put you in this hold, and then there's a chance I can break your bones with it. That's part of it. So that's what this is. So I got the hand here, I got the hand here, and it creates that motion. If you notice how the shoulder reacts, right, and it becomes a lock. The lower I go with this hand and the more higher I go with this hand, now we got a problem. So I'm not trying to do the overextension of it. I'm not trying to give him any injuries or whatever. This is just for video, just for show. So if y'all want me to break his arm, it ain't happening. Okay? I'm not in that. So that's what that is. The more it works that way, the more that's it. There's even points that, if you can see this, I'm going to do the alpha phi alpha sign. But I can take the thumb and the pinky as I do that and lock right here at the wrist. And I can do the same here and lock. And then there's points that I can even come down to the ground, even go down to the ground as I do that, and it becomes a real strenuous hold. So he's going to apply this on me a couple of times. He can go ahead and kind of make it as strenuous if he wants to a little bit, because I'll take it, and then we'll move on from there. I'm going to go ahead and get the arm break idea out of the way, because everything else is going to be nice and a piece of cake. So here, I have my fist, right? Let's see, he's right there. He got that lock between the thumb and the first finger, and he has this up here. Now he has my arm, and all he is doing is he's hiking this upward while this is going downward. Now if he brings it to me like this, it's not going to do nothing. So he has to have this space where the lock is more effective out here. And see, you can tell because now I'm going on my tiptoes. If you see that happening, you're getting the right idea, right? And he can actually carry me. So this is actually an idea of Shaolin Chin-na working as police, because the actual 108 Lohan, they were acting as a police force for Shaolin. They can use this technique to carry someone, to lock someone in position and take them on to Shaolin jail. There's an actual Shaolin jail. So he's doing that, and he can walk it. And I'm walking on my tiptoes. Bring me back. Okay, so that's part is that. Now you've seen Bruce Lee do it on Return of the Dragon. We're not going to do that part, but the idea of what he did, he was doing the lock. If you pop it enough, it's not going to break. What it's going to do is it's going to cause the arm to spasm out. So you see Chuck Norris's arm do this.
Yeah, I remember that camera.
Right, so you got that point. Now, let's get to the actual original reason of Jip-Sao. It really more or less wasn't Jip-Sao. It had everything to do with a Tok-Sao, or sometimes even a returning Tan-Sao, going out in outer position while you had a Wu-Sao in. And what you're doing is you were rotating the hands as a way of hurrying up and getting it in a certain position. So if Will here had a punch, and let's say my hand is here, my hand is like centered low Wu, right? And it's close to my elbow, because it's going to be able to get faster to him from elbow out, right? Now, if he punches with the other hand, I've already switched. Punches again, already switched. You see what's happening? I'm actually doing it more like this. I'm lifting up the Tan from Sunum Dao navel low up. That's why Sunum Dao does that. So I'm going from that point while I have a returning Wu as if I'm doing a backwards form of chain punching or chain striking, right? So that's what's going on with that. So if, I'll bring this closer. So I have my fist here, right? He has a Tan-Sao here. Or it could have, like I said, if it was Tok-Sao and he's trying to match for arm, then okay. But it's really back to the point of really having a Tan-Sao popping up out of nowhere, right? As I punch, that Wu-Sao is turning into a Tan-Sao, and it's coming up into battle now while the other one switch hands. As I punch again, that's what's happening. So it's doing more like in a circle. Do that with me. And this is the original way of what that Jip-Sao action is doing. That was the reason. So it really wasn't Jip-Sao in the first place. That's evolution. It started becoming the arm break when you had all these gang people in Hong Kong. If I'm holding I'm gonna use this for a moment. It's kind of cheesy, but I'm gonna use this for a moment. If I had some kind of stick that was in my hand, a weapon, and the person had the chance to get out of the way, to sidestep as I bring this down, that Jip-Sao was a way to go ahead and break my arm. Does that make sense? I'm gonna get over here so you can do it for the camera on this side. So if he's out of the way, he's able to trap that arm. Now I can't use this weapon or whatnot. He can deal with me further. Especially if you do that technique, there's a chance that I might drop this weapon. That's the original reason of Jip-Sao, especially in Hong Kong days, Hong Kong era, when you had all these influx of people and their gangs, they use these bars, they use bats, they use all this kind of stuff. You had to adjust the Wing Chun skill. Does that make sense? It's always been there. It's just wasn't used in that way. That's why even you got more yacht and more yachts people. More yacht didn't do Jip-Sao necessarily. He knew the technique and he could teach it. But when he taught it out to the public, you didn't see him teach Jip-Sao. You saw him do the returning Wu hand, then turn the Tan hand out. Now you got the Jing palms. And what do you do in the Chung Q? You go to this motion, break, and this is more yacht way. That was the original. Very beginning in the 50s and earlier, right? That was it. Okay? Now, I'm gonna show you this other secret about jigsaw, and we're gonna roll out and be done with it. Okay? Now, jigsaw is a control. Remember, chin knot locking is really a control. It's a lock. It's not telling you to break anything. It's not telling you to wrestle. It's a lock. So it's an idea of control. Well, what can we do with this control? We can do two things with this control. Actually, let's make it three. One, if I have his hand out here and I take on the idea of jigsaw controlling to redirecting my opponent, then I can create it as a type of way of getting my opponent out of the way, throw him, whatever I want to do. There's even a point where when you do this jigsaw, you can have them put to the ground, but we're not going to go that route. But just know it can happen. Now, if I have this jigsaw and it's locked here, and I have them, he's dealing with the tiptoe, he's dealing with the shoulder and all of that lock. So then I relax it, and I throw him. Oh, my bad. I wasn't even going to do that. But that's what that is. They're in that position all of a sudden because the balance is now broken. The balance is broken. And and y'all gonna get to know me and my dang law, balance. We keep ours, they don't. Simple as that. So if I got them on their tiptoes, they have no sense of gravity or balance. They don't have that 100% balance. I've already broken. They might as well stand on one leg. Then I just get rid of them. Let them go somewhere. Go fly in the harbor, water, or whatever. You know, that's what that is. So he's going to do that towards me, and then even later on, we're going to do that with the mattress, like you see Gary Lamb does. You're going to see that with us. He's going to do that to me, really. So here, got the jigsaw. Then sailing. So as long as I'm on their tiptoes, you got it, right? Do it again on this side. And another thing is, and y'all not getting to see this, but I'm gonna go back just a little bit. I'm gonna take it very slow because when we do this, there's a point that it's just not just throwing them back. There's a point that, and it's not even just pushing forward, because I could just do this and just push them forward. But there's a point of taking my foot, circling myself with momentum so that they can go that way, you know, and getting that momentum going. Stomping down with the back of my foot so I can use that energy. So he could do that to me as well, right? So it's a hard kind of thing to deal with. But we'll have to look at the mattress part, and that's going to be real cool. Now, second and third parts, it relates back to chin na. And he asked about doing chin na, so we're going to film about chin na. I want y'all to see chin na for what it is. And a lot of other extra stuff about chin na, Wing Chun, and that understanding. Now, check this out. Next point is the fact that you do jigsaw so you can attack with one of the hands that's locking, okay? It just depends on which one you want to attack with in the end. We'll get closer because I really want y'all to see what we're doing. So there's a point, because Wing Chun is a hand technician, more skill. We can kick, but in the end, it has more of a love for hands. So if I have this lock here, right, the ultimate goal is that one of these hands, either here or here, right? I'm gonna let you can see it this way, even though it's really better to do it like this, right? There's more of a better center of gravity with it. But Either this underhand here is going to strike somewhere, or this top hand here is going to strike somewhere. I can make that choice, right? And sometimes it can be one, then two. So if I have this lock, all of a sudden, shoot down, come up, attack. That's one of the reasons why you do jip-sao. That's one reason why you do chin-na. Chin-na is sometimes is meant to set up for other attacks. If I'm out here, I can hurry up and shoot down low. I can elbow, come back, chop there, come back, chop there. Whatever I feel like doing. Does that make sense? So locking, when you do locking, chin-na control, your ultimate goal is either you're not gonna hold them forever. This ain't UFC. This is, I want to go home and eat my TV dinners and live. So, right here, he has this lock. He can decide to attack at any point, right? Because I'm a taller person, there's a point he can do this, roll it. It's still jip-sao. You see how low he is. Now, right?
That's pretty.
Right? So that was the other part. It's either you can do it with hands or you can do legs or whatever. You take them down, wherever the case may be. Either way it goes. But that's what jip-sao is for. So he has me. He has me like that. You know, broke me down. Does that make sense? That's what jip-sao is for. It's not just to break arms. So I don't want people to get all about breaking arms because some of y'all ain't strong enough to break no dang arm. Right? Now, the last level, truthfully of it, is when you start using actual chin-na studies, actual chin-na skill. And I'm going to show you, you can go from jip-sao to a chin-na actual movement. Just like earlier, it makes sense. So right here, I have this to either slip it in here where I'm uppercutting it right here underneath his elbow or even sharper underneath his shoulder as you see that? To more stuff. So you have, you have that opportunity, right? Even coming up from the shoulder. And if the head is actually there, present it, right? Lock it, you know, right here. Whatever you decide to do. But it will have you go through some pretty nifty, cool stuff if you really want it. But that's the ultimate goal. He can...
I don't know all that part right there.
Just jip-sao first. Now take that, slip it to the bicep, in this other elbow. Yeah, there you go. Push up with this. There we go. So now you got me hyped up right there.
I can't reach your head. I can't reach your head.
See, he can't slip that, but
I can't reach your head.
But he has me like this. This is more of a strong arm form of jip-sao, if you think about it, because taking this chin-na lock and moving it on, right? He even go to the point of going underneath my shoulder and punching up to the sky with this hand, right here. While he has this downward more, right? Because you have to still keep a seesaw. You see how he can't do it? It's a seesaw effect. All chin-na, even jip-sao, comes under the order of a seesaw effect. One side has to be low. The other side has to be high. It is really that simple. Like most grappling, you can go to a 10th degree black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for all I care. Guess what's going to come down to? Look, earth, heaven, split. That's all it is. That's all everything is. Like, it is that simple. Now, you ain't going to get that way like this. This is called natural movement. And when I get a chance to, with this Hampton Hong legacy bit, our Chun Fa law comes to the idea of natural and unnatural movement. If you do this, there's not a whole lot of locking you're gonna do. You know, you can go into a lock from there, but that's natural movement. Your elbow naturally bends like that. So that's nothing. But if you go against the bend, a natural bend, now we're locking. Now we're grappling. Now we're doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and whatever system that you think that's another system. It's not a split system. So it's really, they're all the same. China is the mother. China does all that. So anyway, that's Jip-Sao. Any questions? We're about to hit this mattress right quick. We're going to show you from that point using Jip-Sao to control the opponent, throw them into a hard surface. Our hard surface is going to be the mattress. Make sure y'all move. Yeah, there we go. Right. Now you got the hang of it. You're going to do it a couple of times. Just slow. Right? Alright, so you see what I'm getting at right there. You gotta let them get into that motion. Let them feel it a little bit sometimes. Then let it relax. Soon as that what's happening is they're from this point. Then from this point, this body has to come down. That's what you see physically. What you're not seeing is the muscle, the organs, all that has to set back down from where they were at. Because when you lift that up, guess what? Your lungs are lifted, all kinds of stuff inside you is lifted. Has to come down. They're not ready for that whip. That's what it is. That's what most people don't get with this Kung Fu mess, is how their organs and how everything, how you affect their organs and how you affect their muscles and whatnot when you're hiking them up like that. When you put them all the way down like that, when you put them in these different positions, all that got to be realigned and readjusted. It's too late by then. So balance is not even just what you see out here. Balance is what's in here. Structure. Think about all that. We got this structure and realignment and how we're set and all of that has to come back down and be in order. You still don't have balance.